At the beginning of 2025, when I found out that I was going to be laid off from work, I started to make some plans. And this YouTube channel was what came out of that. And I was sitting there in the UK at the beginning of this year with a friend. And that friend was struggling with their job. They were having a really hard time. It was affecting their health and all kinds of stuff. And so they, I think, got inspired maybe by my ideas. And they decided they were going to start something themselves. Now, it wasn't the YouTube channel, it was something else. But we both had the plan to get started. So I flew back to Sweden and I got started. And I got a message from them maybe a week later saying, oh yeah, I've made this list, this checklist to work on. And I thought, oh great, because that's what we talked about. Plan it out a little bit, work out the tasks you need to do and then tackle them one at a time. Something I say on my channel quite a lot. But anyway, so they'd made this checklist and then that was the last thing I heard for a while. And I was working on my channel and I thought, at times it got tough. And so I thought, well, I'll check in with them and see how they're doing. So I sent them a message and I got one back. And that was basically that I don't think things have really got better. They just kind of come to accept it a little bit. And I guess that the other thing was also going to be hard. Starting something isn't easy. So I think those two things combined basically made them stop. So they made the checklist, but they never did anything with it. And so that checklist, I guess, is sitting there and it hasn't been touched. I think this is important coming up to 2026 and beyond, because there's a lot of you that are looking back on 2025 and thinking about what you've done and reflecting on any progress you've made, if any. And you're looking to 2026 and thinking, okay, maybe you're thinking, this is my year, I'm going to get started or I'm going to continue. And it's great. If you've started and you're going to continue, you can probably just shut off this video right now. You don't need it. But if you didn't start in 2025, or you started and then you stopped, and you're thinking about coming back in 2026, or you're thinking about starting from scratch in 2026, whatever it is, you need to do it. It's as simple as that. You need to get started and you need to follow through. Because I had a message from my friend this week, and guess what? They're back in a worse position than they were at the beginning of 2025. So the entire year where that checklist was created and then not touched, and where they accepted their position, that position just got worse. What I'm trying to tell you here is that I got started and I followed through for 6 months, and it'll be 7 months by the time we finish this year. And I didn't make progress for a long time. I didn't feel like I was getting anywhere, but I kept going. I didn't feel like anyone cared, but I kept going. And I didn't know if this was going to work out or not. I still don't. And I didn't know what I was doing, and I still don't most of the time. But I got better. All of that's got better. I got more people engaged. I feel like I slowly start to know a little bit more what I'm doing. And I can see that I've improved. But without 6 months of hard work, I would never know any of this. And I wouldn't have got anywhere. I'd been in I had a good job. This is the thing. So I wouldn't have been in a bad situation in the sense that I didn't start this in a really bad situation apart from getting laid off. But what I could have done is just said, oh, well, I'll just go and find a regular job then, because my job was quite special and I liked it. But I could go and find some random job and, probably hate it compared to what I was doing before, and just accept my lot in life, and that's it. And come to the end of 2025 now and be in a worse position than where I started. But instead, I've worked hard and consistently. I've built and I've learned and I've improved. And now I've turned what I feel like is a bit of a corner in the YouTube land and the algorithm and what have you, where I feel like I'm actually making some progress and I'm approaching monetization. And that's one of my big goals, because that matters to me. as somebody who's unemployed and wants to do this full time and has been working on it full time for 6 or 7 months soon, that matters a lot to me. It might not matter to some of you because you have a job or you're just doing it as a hobby or whatever, and that's fine. But to me, that matters because firstly, it shows that the potential, I can actually start earning from it, a small amount, but from there, it could snowball. But it also matters because I proved the whole concept of what I've been trying to do for the last 6 months, which is present my journey of growing a YouTube channel from zero to monetization. So when we're coming into 2026 now, when you look back at 2025, maybe you haven't achieved the things you wanted. Maybe you didn't get started in the first place. Whatever. But we're coming into 2026. Are you going to be like my friend who looks back at the last year and realizes they didn't get started and now they're in a worse situation than when we talked at the beginning of 2025? And if you do that, and you think, right, yeah, I'm going to fix this, and you decide to go out and get started, and then you give up, what happens when you come to 2027 and you start looking back and what did you do in 2026? I gave up, or I didn't get started. Okay, what are you going to do? I'm going to get started in 2027. Well, maybe you are. Maybe at that point you'll be in enough pain to get started. But the thing is, and part of what people are missing as well, is that if things are good now, like they were for me, I had a great job for the last 6 years. Best job I've ever had. But you never know when things are going to change. You need to have, in my mind, or you should have, some kind of escape plan. Now, I know that's hard when you're happy and when things seem good and that life can't throw you any curveballs, but it will at some point. And wouldn't it be good to have gotten started already? But it's the actual getting started part you really need to do. Because you should have an escape plan. You should have some kind of plan to get out. Because you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know when someone's going to decide, someone you've never met, they don't know you, they don't care about any of the work you've done or how good you were at it. Doesn't matter. All they're interested in is their mandate, which is, let's say, saving money. And if I, shut down all these departments, I save this amount of money. That'll look good for me and I'll get promoted. Those people will get screwed, but who cares? I'm never going to meet them. And that's what you're facing every day. And some of you, it's already happened to. It's happened to me. And I see in my comments, there's people in exactly the same situation. So what's your escape plan? What are you going to do in 2026 to safeguard yourself or to change your life? Because this 6 months of content creation has changed my life. I can't live on it yet. I don't earn anything really yet, but I see the potential and I see my progress and I see what I'm building towards and I see that I'm almost there. Or at least I'm getting to milestones. So it has changed my life because I've seen in the last 6 months that this is possible. And whatever it is you want to do, whether it's YouTube or anything else, it's possible to do. If you put the work in and if you get going. You've got to get started. It's as simple as that. Now, I've got loads of videos on all this stuff. I'll link them on the screen and everything. But at some point, you've got to stop watching these videos and get started. If you get started, you can watch some of them in between to help you, of course. But ultimately, there comes a point where you've got to stop watching videos, you've got to stop planning, you've got to stop overthinking it, and you just got to hit record. I've got a video on that too. But you've just got to get going, because doing this thing is the best experience that you're going to get. It's the best way to learn the stuff. You think that planning and watching videos and all that stuff is the best way to learn, and that helps. But ultimately, getting started will teach you much more. Because you'll learn all the things along the way. You'll pick up things. You'll identify the real things that you need to focus on. And you'll be having experience. As people often say, you'll be getting reps in, like going to the gym. You build the muscle by going there and doing it. You don't build it by reading books or watching videos about it. So what I want for you, if you are thinking about doing something with 2026, is I want you to get started. And I want you to come back at the end of 2026. Let's make it a date, 18th of December, 2026. And we'll come back here and we'll see where you're at. I'll do another video a year on from now, and I'll ask you, where are you at? Now, something you could do, which can help, is write down what you want to do. And if you feel comfortable doing it, or even if you don't feel comfortable doing it, write your plan out in the comments below. Tell me, what are you going to do with 2026? What's the plan? What are you looking to achieve? Why? Write it down. Now, if you're thinking, I don't want to write it down, okay, that's up to you. But is that because you kind of know you're not going to do it? Are you avoiding it or kidding yourself? I hope not. Go down into the comments and tell me, what you're trying to do, or what have you been doing? What's your plan? What are you trying to achieve? Leave it in the comments and we'll talk about it more there. And I want you to make sure that you follow through with the plan. Just give it a go. Set yourself a time frame and just get started. Because you don't want to come to the end of 2026 and be in the same or worse position that you were in and realize you didn't follow through and you didn't pursue your dream.